Well, I was born Muslim. I've been Muslim all my life, so I wouldn't have anything to compare it to outside of that. I went to school in Jamaica for a bit. That was difficult because we had to cover up, long dresses and hijabs and stuff like that, so we really stood out. Being Muslim here, I wasn't really as conspicuous. It's kind of trendy now for black girls to cover their hair. So I don't know, it really didn't stick out unless I was wearing a real hijab. And then in that case, it was more just getting catcalls from people as opposed to experiencing overt or violent discrimination or anything like that. Immediately after September 11th, it was definitely more tense. The environment was a lot more tense. I was with my mom, who was wearing full purdah and stuff, and it was kind of dangerous for her to be traveling alone. And there had been some experiences that she had where she was sort of physically threatened, but me personally, I haven't. I'm Sunni Muslim, which is you practice the Sunnah, meaning the exact teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. Sunni Islam is what gets the most, the worst rap. It's considered fundamentalist, and fundamentalist is kind of a dirty word nowadays. I don't consider myself so overtly Islamic, especially in terms of the way that I dress, and my lifestyle is not very religious. I mean, I do cover my hair, but that's sort of a remnant of this very religious upbringing that I can't seem to shake. Like everybody, I experience a crisis of faith depending on the day of the week, If maybe you had caught me during Ramadan, I would have been sort of more philosophically inclined to talk about Islam. I may be dressed Islamically and not be praying or not be practicing the sort of tenets of Islam that are mandatory that I should. Or I may be dressed in a way that is considered overtly Western and be praying and fasting all the time. My conflict exists sort of more, on a superficial level for everybody else, but for me, it's internal. Sometimes I find those tools that I've been taught to use to, quantify my spirituality, I feel like I'm not up to it. It's wake up before the sun rises and you're praying 5 times a day, and sometimes I just feel is that really the point? It's just a catch-22, because then I feel okay, well, if I'm so religious, then I should really just be praying all the time. Everything else in my life needs to not be done. Other times I feel it's necessary, it's just a means of discipline, just to separate you from your more baser inclinations, which would be just to lay around, eat, sleep, shit, whatever. I never felt as though my Islam limited me. And to tell you the God's honest, when I'm going through any of my most hectic times, this is when I turn to my religion. And I've always felt in order for me to really experience my religion to the full extent, I need to learn about what other people are on. And that's going to inform it, and that's going to make it more true, as opposed to just being a reaction to my upbringing. You have to own your own spirituality, every single person does. I know that my parents, as much as they may just be disappointed by my lifestyle, they know that it's my way of, reaffirming my sort of faith and answering these questions that I have. There's no free lunch. I have to figure it out for myself.